This question comes from BTGN1984 on YouTube, and they ask, how do you edit to make the audience feel something?
Wow. Well, it starts by picking the right performance. And then the right reactions to that performance, maybe. It's hard to, it's hard to articulate. These are great questions because, usually you will, I will experiment with the material in a lot of different ways. I mean, I think that the way that you're able to make people most easily feel something is by being in tighter shots, in mediums and close-ups. I mean, after establishing the geography of where you are in a particular place or scene, you use coverage to the best of your ability, and as it's provided. And usually, it's the actors that are, making the magic. It's not really me. It's just I'm trying to impart a rhythm on it, a tempo on it, and that's sort of where the emotion comes from. But I'd say it's majority of it is the actors, and of course the material, the script. If you've got a great script, I mean, you really have to work hard to screw it up. I mean, if you got really bad actors, okay, yeah, you're behind the eight balls. But a great script is something that, boy, even subpar I don't want to say subpar performances, but it all starts with the written word.
This question comes from Manu7, and they write, how should I practice editing as I am just beginning and have no raw footage to edit? All I do is read editing books.
I love that question. That's a good one. And I'm really into this now because, basically you can shoot your own movie on your smartphone, whether it's an iPhone or an Android phone. I've got an Android phone I can make 4K videos with. And I got to tell you, you should go out there and you should shoot your own movie on your phone or a camera, whatever you have to shoot it, and then go and edit it. That's the joy of, that's the benefit of living in this incredibly powerful technological age. You just shoot it, and then put it in your editing program, whatever it may be, and then start cutting it. And when you shoot it, get a lot of coverage, get a lot of source material. Think of all the different kinds of shots you can make, and make them good. Don't just shoot sort of like, weird angles to be weird angles. Think of every shot as a means to move the story forward. That's what I've always been taught. But yeah, go out there and make your own movie, I'd say.
We have a question from Brenton McAuliffe, and Brenton writes, do you consider story structure or otherwise, how do you approach the momentum and pacing? Do you prefer to edit according to the director's vision or your own, i.e., do you make every change and say, but based on the way you filmed it this way, it might work better?
I might say that. There's different periods in the post-production process. The way it works in long-form scripted filmmaking is usually you're editing concurrently with production. And you start the second day, you start editing because you get the film from the day before, the second day. And you essentially assemble the editor's cut during that period of time. Basically, that's your opportunity to put your stamp on the film. Yes, you might get notes from the director, I like this take, or I like this line, and you try to work those notes in, but for the most part, the director's really busy during production. and they almost never have time to come by. So, or they're on location and you're somewhere else. So that's when an editor really gets to sort of break the back of the film, so to speak. And, you know, I don't think it's a conscious choice of putting their stamp on it, but it's you know, it's what they do. It's their instincts about the material. And then, and invariably, the first cut or the editor's cut is going to be quite long. Okay? I've been on first cuts that were 5.5 hours long. So a lot of times the script is long. The actors don't, you know, they don't say the lines as quickly as you might have hoped, or they add lines, things like that. So what we do is we make a continuity board and we print out an index card of each scene in the movie. And we put it up just like a writer might do when they're writing the film. So we can look at the film at a moment's notice and talk about it with each other and say, you know, the film's kind of dragging in here. What if we took this scene and cut it in half and then moved the second half over here? So there's all kinds of, you know, tools we use, some of them, you know, as simple as that, to kind of deal with story structure and length issues and things like that. And then a lot of times you'll just take a scene and you'll just, well, this is going to go in the envelope here because we cut that scene. Because it is, you know, inhibiting the story from going forward. So it's just about watching movies and looking at it in terms of, you know, again, what the director's intention is. I mean, you know, there might be sort of a very specific style or technique that a director might be trying to use or using. So every situation is different. But at the end of the day, it's really sort of, you know, trying to, you know, make the film as enjoyable as possible at a length that the studio will be happy to let you release it at, you know, because sometimes, you know, people say, well, comedy should only be 90 minutes. But I mean, if a comedy is playing at 147 minutes and the audience loves it and your focus group cards all say, it's great, don't make it any shorter, well, why would you want to make it 90 minutes?